Hey moguls, it's Dr. T here, and I'm coming to you with an amazing upgrade today. This is a multi-million dollar mogul upgrade, or what we refer to here as a mogul up. And this is all about really making sure that in this new transformational moment that is truly the most intense, both in excitement for what is coming and happening and in the intensity for where people are frightened. This is the most transformational moment that most any of us will have ever experienced in our lifetime as we cross over from one reality into a new one, leaving behind a reality that we will. And this upgrade is about making sure that in this transformational moment, that you are awake, that you are understanding what is going on, and you are acting accordingly. And forgive me for saying this, but so you do not get destroyed in this and you position yourself strategically for this crazy new reality. Okay, so this is what our upgrade is here today. And as someone of intentionality, you'll rarely hear me discussing, like, don't let something happen, but I need it to really get your attention. The focus is how not to get destroyed in this transition, in this transformation between one world and the next, and to position yourself strategically for this crazy new reality. Okay, it's very important. And I'm sharing this with you because this is the most transformational time that anyone on planet Earth will ever have been in and will go through. And you need to be alert and aware because this is not reality as usual. So I got to plug my computer in. Hang on. This is not reality as usual. This is a moment to be awake and do not let yourself get destroyed in what is a very transformational time where human beings must be strategic. And where ultimately you've got to position yourself strategically for what I'm just saying right now is going to feel like a crazy new reality, even though I am personally deeply and very excited about it. Because this is the reality that as a human projector in the human design system, I was born to live in and to lead people through. And as a psychologist, author, speaker, success coach, and a guide and an advisor to for many years to high net worth people, ultra high net worth people, and people who could pay for the highest levels of transformation and innovative transformational technology, because this era of transformation is so intense and so many people don't really have a frame of reference for what it is. It's definitely a moment where I want to give a piece of caution, more of an alert and awakening, and point you to the fact that we need to have you position yourself strategically. So this is that moment to say, whatever we've been doing that has been like business as usual, like, oh, I kind of know how reality is, and I kind of know where I have to be productive and know where I can just sort of kick back or avoid something or pretend it doesn't exist or get away with whatever and be in my comfort zone. I just want to make it clear that those days are over. That whatever level of change has been happening in humanity, where a lot of the population, or I should say a minority of the population, but a lot of people within that minority have been transforming as a way of life, literally upgrading themselves each and every day in a transformational process. Those people are going to have a much easier time as we cross over from one era to the other. But anybody who has been putting off transformation avoiding it, taking their time with it, pretending it's not needed, staying resistant and fixed, and doing the things that a lot of people were taught to do, which was pretend something isn't an issue and just ignore it, and everybody talks around it in some weird, awkward, superficial small talk thing that I'm just so excited I don't have to do anymore. Um, because as a human projector, I always go right to the heart of what something is, penetrate into that situation to know how to amplify it into its potential, make an upgrade, provide a strategy and a solution, and lead every upgrade, including myself and people who are open to that. So, and also being someone that's open to receive them. So, how you're not going to get destroyed in this is that the invitation is to recognize that whatever the status quo has been, whatever people have been doing, and including things that I know are really important to people, like things they do in their free time or whatever. I just want to really provide some context that says this is not necessarily, the time for you to just do business as usual and kind of do what you've been doing, because the world is dramatically changing. It's not just whatever you think it is. It is literally us shifting from one era to the other through three-dimensional reality. We have been in four now for a while, and we are heading straight into five-dimensional reality, and we will be all the way into five-dimensional reality by the beginning of 2027, when an entirely different frequency of reality clicks fully in, and the world as we know it will never be the same as the one that we were accustomed to or familiar with. So this has just got to be really understood. I'm trying to make sure that that everything is recording as it's supposed to. Let's see. Okay, good. Um, okay, so in this kind of a shift, it is profoundly, profoundly important that you make sure that you position yourself strategically for what this shift actually is. Okay, so in positioning yourself strategically, it's about recognizing that while you have been living most all of your life, likely, depending on who you are, in what's more of a reactive process, where I've been noticing this my whole life. I thought this was profoundly bizarre since the time I was little, where people are like, I'm hanging out on Earth and I'm going to see what happens. I don't know what happens. I'm going to see what happens. And then I'm going to react. And then I'm going to effectively be chasing reality and having reality rule over me. That has been a reactive reality, which has created a lot of suffering in people because it feels like reality is just running you. And when you are a reactor, this is not necessarily something that makes you feel like a master, right? Like a powerful creator, like a top mogul. And you have just been doing whatever you see everyone else doing. Let's see what happens. Okay. Now we are moving and crossing over into a new era. And where there was more stability in that kind of reality, which just kind of repeated itself to a certain degree and changed a little bit year by year, where we had a scenario where, like, you could look back and realize, like, you didn't really make it much further in reality than your own mom and dad. And your mom and dad could look back and say, well, yeah, we didn't get that much farther than their mom and dad. And we didn't get that much further than your mom and dad, their mom and dad. And I could even see this where I was like, wow, I'm getting close. I've done nothing but transform my whole life, and I'm still experiencing so much of the same reality that my parents did, because the reality field that we've been in, this environment has been primarily the same. Now that is changing, where the entire reality field is going into a different frequency than we've ever in anyone in this lifetime. It's existed in humanity thousands of years ago, but we're going into a new frequency. And I'm so excited because that frequency is the frequency of freedom and mass prosperity. And yet, it is also a frequency where all of the infrastructure that we have been used to, that has been stabilizing everyone, like, well, this is just the way it is, and the government does this, and this does that, and structure, structure, structure. That is part of the previous era. It was an era, the Capricorn era, the Industrial Revolutionary era, of structure, planning, constraining, all kinds of structure. We are now going into the era that takes all of that out. It's a all bets are off, free for all, free form, no convention, no more conventional reality that we are familiar with for many generations. It is now going into the innovative, unique creativity, multi-dimensional reality field, where if you are a certain type of human, you have been waiting for that multi-dimensional reality because you are more dimensional, and you might be one of these people in human design who has a single or a double split or a triple split or a quadruple split in your energy system, which means you have multiple energy systems. And multidimensional reality will feel amazing to you and normalized. You'll be normalized in it, and you'll be so comfortable in it, that you'll be able to help other people through it. But if you are someone where your human design system is more of a single flow system that just sort of does the same thing over and over and over and over, then this multidimensional reality will feel very potentially disturbing to you, and you will not feel grounded. You won't feel the ground. You won't feel the structure, and the structure will all be dismantling. And that is on purpose, because our great creator and the evolutionary forces and power of this creation that is this reality has a divine design taking us into the next stage, for Earth, its own transformation to clear out what it has experienced, detox itself, from the residue of what has been created, and move into a new era with less material, less effort, labor, low frequency experience, pain, and suffering that comes from the low frequency vibration of reality. With all of the stuff, it's been making a lot of low frequency reality. And now that we are going into a high frequency of freedom and flow, this will ultimately feel amazing at a certain point, but it will be disorienting for many, many people. And that is why it is the age of transformation as much as it is the age of technological revolution. And I'm inviting you not to get destroyed in it by this rapid, intensive, very disorienting change and the pace that it will go, by making sure you understand what's happening and positioning yourself to be able to experience it in a way that is strategic and allows you to prioritize becoming more transformational and transformable as a being, as a partnership with your partner, as a family with your family system, as a leader in your company, in your role, in your position. everything you could be doing. It would be positioning yourself to be able to easily adapt, flow, transform over and over and over, and ultimately so transformable that you can transform at the pace that the evolutionary creative forces are taking us, so that you flow in place of resistance. So you want to position yourself. So a lot of things that people will be called to do, and I just want to invite you to get some sense of this. Having also done this myself, having owned a lot of property and a lot of stuff to manage in my life, having offices, having a retreat home, having my regular home, um, having lots of stuff that was so much to manage, so much material, like being in that material era we were in, where the directive was you have to do all of these things to be successful, whether that was really your definition of success or not, was sort of irrelevant. Um, and a lot of people, myself included, have been reorganizing and recalibrating from the life of all kinds of stuff to manage, which takes bandwidth, which takes a lot of energy and effort. And we can be caught up in the previous era with all the effort and all the things. It's just like never ending amount of labor to do and stuff to manage. And many people are shifting from that. So I'm inviting you to figure out where you're going to position yourself and how you're going to position yourself, so that you are set up to be able to adapt easily and transform easily. Because the thing you're going to need the most capacity for is not managing all your stuff. It is about being able to upgrade as a being into a new energy field. It's like, imagine if right now you're in your life, but we put in a machine in your home, in your world that you navigate in, and we amp it on up to a much higher frequency, where all of the stuff that you're used to in the lower frequency, that frequency isn't pumped in anymore. It's a completely different frequency. It's very high, it's very flowing, it's going to feel really good, but it's going to not be where you are going to have a bunch of time to manage a bunch of extra stuff you may not need, situations that are not right for you, people that are not right for you. This is not going to be the era of hoarding your previous reality, hoarding stuff, hoarding people, and being hoarders of the past, holding on and gripping on. This is going to be an era of constant upgrading, evolving to the higher frequency, because the higher frequency is going to bring about more and more and more higher frequencies. That's the exponential age we're going into. More dimension. All the things that people take medicine for, like I want to feel dopamine or serotonin or whatever, you're going to feel that, to a massive degree. But if you have a lot of stuff and a lot of old era stuff to manage, and you're in the old world and you're clinging to that and you're bogged down with that, it's going to be hard for you to transform. And I'm inviting you to be proactively positioning yourself so you don't go into the new era that's going to try to give you so much good reality, and then you're stuck and trapped in all this stuff, because that has the potential to destroy you. You won't be able to make the upgrade. You won't be in the right position to receive things. You won't get your frequency high enough to stay with the pace of reality and where it's taking us. And you'll be bogged down in the old reality, and you won't go along with the new one at the pace that you need to. And you could technically get left behind. So this is the moment to be looking at how you're going to position yourself. What are the changes you're going to make? If I say to you, this is what's going to happen, that you're going to go through the most transformative, let's just be kind and call it decade. right? It's going to be a lot longer than that. But let's just say you're going to feel this transformation, at least for the first few years, in a big way. Like you're going to be adapting to transformation, like starting right now. And you're going to basically be in a constant state of transformation. And imagine it were a let's just make it simple. Imagine it's 3 years. I'm going to make that simpler. Where would you put yourself in the world? Where would you be? Where would you go? What would you change? Who would you be around? What would your role be? How would you position yourself? Right? Say, for example, if you are someone that has been doing a role and it's been a certain type of role in reality, that role may be going away, or that role is now it's giving you an opportunity to change something. For example, being someone that goes into the area of intelligence, or the area of transformation, or the area of digital currency, the new paradigm, and shifting into that, this would be a time to start to position yourself. It's also about positioning yourself as, who are you? What's your identity? What brand are you? Meaning, what do you bring to reality? What is your expertise? What is your value? It's about positioning yourself so you can make the greatest adaptation into what is so exciting in a world where humans are going to go from getting the shit beat out of them, doing hardcore labor in the slave camp that we have been in, the traumatizing, brutalizing drudgery of the end of the Industrial Revolution. And we're going into the age of flow and creativity and innovation and adaptation, yes, which is the major part. But where our life becomes easier so we can become more connected as creators in our uniqueness, which will be more prominent now. We are not going to be constrained together like, oh my God, I have to be like everyone else and be, oh my God, what does everyone else think? It's not going to be like that. The more of your authentic, unique self, the more you're actually going to feel connected to people, the more you're going to feel amazing, the more reality will start to show you how it will bring you prosperity in a new way. It's all different. So I invite you, instead of like, potentially getting just crushed by this, start to position yourself and think about, how am I going to position myself for this? We are used to this thing that says, I do work over here, I get money paid to me over here. All of the paradigm is shifting, and now the way prosperity is coming to you is going to reveal itself, and how that is going to happen. It's a new paradigm. It's a new moment. It is about being open to all of how the new paradigm works, how it's going to flow. It is about positioning yourself for where reality is going, and going there. It is not about seeing what happens and then reacting and slowly hesitating and adapting and eventually being somewhat in step with it. It is about understanding where it's going, how fast it's going, what your role is, what will be needed, how you can be of value, how you can receive the upgrade, and how you, yourself, your partner, your family, your company, how you and your reality can position yourself to receive this amazing, crazy new world we're having, because it's going to be coming through all of us into the world. And you are here to adapt as someone who can receive it and let it bring itself through you. And the more you connect with where it is going, which is what I'm giving you, and you connect with that, instead of being like, this is where we've been, I'm taking you forward, I'm taking you upward. This is a world of constant transformation, multidimensional reality, and where we just give our intentions, and reality literally provides them. Those of us who have been living in intentionality or teaching intentionality like I have for many, like 13 years now, understand that that is how reality in a high flow state. So we're going to need to be the type of people who are so intentional, because if we think a shitty thought replaced with a pretty thought, it's going to be made on a faster level than ever before. It's already been happening, but it's going to go that quickly. We are here to go where reality is taking us, to position ourselves to be able to do that, and to set up a life and a lifestyle that is conducive to constant transformation, constant evolution, constant learning and adaptation, not constant management of all of this old school material creation that we have been burdened by and takes up all of our time at this point. I invite you all to position yourself for this amazing, crazy new reality. That is the way you're going to thrive. I'm excited for you all to share, make a comment about how are you going to position yourself? What are the things you're going to shift so that you are literally just being like, out of all the things I could do, I'm prioritizing being transformable, adaptable, learning the new thing, the digital currency, the AI, and every single thing that's going to be created that's going to be like another thing, another thing, another thing. Like, how are you positioned? Everybody's got to make a choice. I put myself in a much smaller situation to manage material things than I ever have before, so I can be so adaptable, so experiential, so transformable with less stuff to take care of and more of the resources, more of the time, more of the experience, more of the ability to learn, rather than being managing so much stuff as I did in the previous era of reality in most of my life. Everybody should have a sense of what they're going to do differently. What's right for myself is different for each one of you, and what that might be, because it's about what your role is in all of this and the way you're going to play it. But it is about deciding, it is not about reacting. I'd love to see comments about what you're choosing, how you're positioning yourself, what you're changing, and where your life is flowing to. This is how moguls do it. This is how people who understand that we're coming into freedom come into being in the blessing and the upgrade of the new reality. And this is how people drop the resistance to the changes and become what evolution and our great creator of reality, whatever you refer to it as, wants us to be. Thank you for the comments. I look forward to your subscribing, liking, and sharing with other people who will need to make this upgrade and start to decide what their positioning is. Thanks for moguling on up, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Take care.